Well, here we go on a Friday night. I'm getting real anxious for this season to get started, but in the meantime, I'm just going to wait and continue to fill you guys in on things happening around the NFL. Today, I want to talk about an underrated quarterback, then I want to get to Dwayne Haskins, and then finally, two teams that have shown interest in a certain wide receiver. So, are you ready to get your fix? Well, let's get started with a quarterback who I think is actually underrated in this league. This guy is Daniel Jones for the New York Giants. Now, Jones was drafted last year in the first round with the 6th pick. And, the Giants faced a lot of backlash for this pick as Jones only played his college football at Duke, which is predominantly a basketball school. However, his consistency at Duke was off the charts, okay? Jones started 3 years there, throwing about 2,600 to about 2,800 yards with about 16, 14, and 22 touchdowns. And he only had 9, 11, and 9 interceptions in those 3 years. So it's pretty good. He didn't play many top-ranked schools, which I get is crucial to see if he can actually perform in the NFL. But it's still Division I football, and it's very tough to succeed. And if you don't know how to perform, then you shouldn't be there in the first place. And obviously he was able to because he went in the first round at such a high pick. But anyways, Jones goes to New York and has Saquon Barkley to help him out just in case if the passing game isn't, going too well. Well, he put up big boy numbers, okay? He put up real good numbers his rookie year. He threw for 3,027 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 picks with an 87.7 quarterback rating. These, pretty good numbers considering his entire team was riddled with injuries. Their top tight end, Evan Ingram, missed half the season as well as one of their wide receivers, Sterling Shepard, missing 5 games. And they even lost another wide receiver, Golden Tate, for a game. So, he had to deal with backup receivers. And I forgot to mention that, his offensive line was either injured or flat out didn't play ball. Okay, they were just garbage. He had no protection or time to get the ball off, and yet he was still able to throw for 3,000 plus yards with not many interceptions. So don't tell me this guy's trash and that he isn't a starting caliber quarterback, because he proved that he is last year, okay? Even with an injury-riddled offense and a terrible head coach in Pat Shurmur. The Giants finished 4-12 with a rookie quarterback and a top 5 running back doing all the work. Okay, the Giants team is just terrible top to bottom. I do think they have some really good pieces, but they need to add to the offensive line help and some better defenders on defense to get the job done and to do it right. If Daniel Jones can put up those kind of numbers with nothing, just imagine what he could put up with something. Okay, Daniel Jones is very underrated, and I can't wait to watch him ball out and prove the haters wrong. So time to get to another quarterback who was drafted last year by the Washington Redskins, Dwayne Haskins. Now, Haskins is on the hot seat, okay? Last season, being his rookie year, he had to step up in a big way after Alex Smith suffered a really gruesome leg injury. Well, Haskins, he didn't do too well. He threw for 1,365 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 7 picks. Granted, he didn't have a good team really at all. But I just spoke about this with Daniel Jones. Literally, he had nobody to throw the ball to, and he was still able to put up 3,000 plus yards and a better touchdown to interception ratio. So, coming into the season, Haskins, he has to be firing on all cylinders. Otherwise, his career in the NFL could, be over quicker than expected. He's going to have a very tough time with the recent departures, of arguably one of the best tackles in the league, Trent Williams. So the blocking could end up being worse, okay? And they still really don't have good receivers. Haskins only has Terry McLaurin, who was a rookie last year and put up 919 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. So, he's a pretty good asset. He's not too bad. We'll see what he does in year 2. They also just drafted this guy out of Liberty, Antonio Gandy Golden, in the 4th round. Now, Gandy Golden proved to be a top collegiate wide receiver with playing just 2 years with Liberty. In both seasons, he was able to put up 1,037 and 1,396 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns in both the years as well. Okay, I think this addition is going to be a good one for Haskins to pair with McLaurin. This is a young team, okay? They're looking to move up in the rankings, but it's up to Haskins to get that job done. I've been seeing some, videos of him training, and it looks like, he's lost some weight. And if not that, then he's became way more fit. He's put on some muscle. He's looking real good in training, okay? But now he just has to hope that translates to the football field with guys coming at him from all angles. Because practice, you don't have nobody coming at you. Game time, game day is where you got to prove your worth, okay? I think Haskins, he's going to improve, okay? He will. He's going to put up similar stats that, I think Daniel Jones put up last year, which would be a really good jump for him, okay? I mean, you can't completely count him out, okay? Because he has a new head coach in Ron Rivera, and, he's going to have a good system that I believe is going to, point him in the right direction to succeed in this league. So we'll see how, Haskins performs in year 2. I think he's ready to dominate. He's been in the lab, grinding. He's ready to go out there and, give it his all. And I think he's taken on that role really well this offseason. It just takes, a wake-up call just a little bit. So now it's time to get to the 2 teams that apparently came out and said they're interested in a certain receiver. And those 2 teams are the Baltimore Ravens and the Seattle Seahawks. Well, I recently talked about the guy that they're interested in, and that person just happens to be Antonio Brown. Now, if you remember, I said that this guy needs to be considered to be on any NFL team. He needs to be considered. Well, let's talk about these teams, both of them, and how they would benefit from adding Brown. So let's start with the Baltimore Ravens, who have about $9.1 million in cap space this upcoming season. Now, they could easily sign Antonio Brown for $9 million, but it could only be for 1 year. And I say 1 year because you really don't know how he's going to perform, and chances are he's going to do just fine. But you don't have the cap space to sign him for more than 1 year, so that's kind of another reason 1 year. Now, the Ravens have 2 really, really good receivers in Marquise Brown, who was a rookie last year, and they also have Willie Snead, who's been in the league for about 2 years. So they got some young guys who can ball. Now, if they add Antonio Brown, they're going to boost their offense tremendously. Lamar Jackson now would have 3 people he could throw the ball to who have all proved that they can get it done on the field day in and day out and put up really good numbers. They'd be able to run the spread offense a lot, which would help Lamar keep his rushing yards up if no one is open, and allows the offense to, run play action or read options or, really anything at all. And, I believe that would make the Ravens, who finished 14-2, last year, probably finish 16-0, 15-1, maybe 14-2 again. I mean, you can't count them out. This team would be absolutely scary and could put up a fight against Kansas City Chiefs. The Ravens lost nobody, and this addition, though expensive, would make them an even bigger threat this upcoming season. So on another note, if the Seattle Seahawks were to add Antonio to their offense, they would probably need to let one of the wide receivers go, which I don't believe would happen, but they could do so, or they could let other assets go as well. Now, Seattle has about $12.3 million in cap space, which is more than Baltimore, so this makes them an even better contender to land Brown. This, in my eyes, could easily make Russell Wilson for sure MVP. Okay, for sure. He'd actually get a vote finally, which I find ridiculous that he actually hasn't. I mean, he would have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Antonio Brown to throw the ball to. Name a better wide receiver core than that right now. Yeah, you could argue DK and Tyler Lockett aren't the greatest, but still. I mean, come on. This would be an absolute scary good offense who could easily put up 28 points a game, sorry. I mean, if Seattle were to land Brown, watch them run their division over and walk through the playoffs. If someone were to sign Antonio Brown and be an immediate Super Bowl contender, then the Seattle Seahawks should, jump on that, because it wouldn't hurt their offense or production. Like I said not too long ago about Antonio Brown, if someone lands him, you're getting an absolute animal at wide receiver who puts up ridiculous numbers and stays healthy and gets into the end zone at a really, really good pace. I think he averages about 10 to 11 in his career, maybe 12. So you know what, Seattle, make this happen. Well, we got to talk about Daniel Jones, who I think was underrated, Dwayne Haskins, who is looking to make a big jump in year 2, and Antonio Brown getting interest from the Ravens and Seahawks, which I would love to see him play again. So that's going to end our discussion today, and you just got your fix with the Wicks.